Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. This is your host, Time Burner. Sorry for the delay on this video. I know that I've been trying to finish this series for a while now. I recently, probably about 2 weeks ago, upgraded to Windows 10, and I did not know this, or well, I finally found out why. But basically, Windows 10 reset all of my settings in Bandicam for whatever reason, and so like I could not figure out why my headphone and my microphones were not working with Windows 10, and it was not Windows 10 causing the issue. It was just the fact that when I upgraded the OS, or upgraded to Windows 10, excuse me, it just for whatever reason reset all my Bandicam settings. So with that said, I finally figured that out, and obviously now you can hear me, which is great, and I can get back on track with putting out videos. So, the goal of this video is, since this is the final of the series of the deck guide, I wanted to show you kind of the deck in action in a good match that it wasn't too fast, that I couldn't explain what was going on, but it wasn't too slow that it would bore you guys. And I think that this match really drives home the key units in my deck and why I use them the way I do. So without further ado, because I want to try to keep this in one video, it's definitely going to be longer than 30 minutes, most likely. I'll be surprised if it isn't. Let's go ahead and get started. So while I'm going to let it go ahead and build, as you can see, obviously, me, I'm playing with a gentleman named Crab-like. So if you see this video, Crab-like, it was good playing this game with you. This is a really good round for both of us. Let's go over here. We got Kibby, and then Craig. So simple enough. Basically, this is just a 2v2. This isn't, I don't want to say low budget. This is probably between low and medium budget. This isn't like a high budget game where we could call out MiGs, like our MiG 29s, like as many MiGs as we could and fly them out. That was not this game. This was a game where you really had to think about what you wanted to purchase and think ahead, because you couldn't just blow your money on units and just hope that sheer willpower and sheer numbers will save your butt if you make a mistake. This is a game that if you made a mistake, it could cost you the game very easily. So as you can see, I'm putting up my beacons. It's very important that you talk with your teammates. This Crab-like was very, very efficient at communicating back and forth. You'll see this throughout the game. We'll be placing beacons on both sides of the line. I'm taking, obviously, India, Juliet, and Foxtrot. He's going to basically focus on Golf, Hotel, and Charlie, and we both kind of tag up on Echo. Unfortunately, it does not show us, like, it doesn't show the in-game chat via type, unfortunately, but that's basically what we're talking about. So my thought process for me when I started this match was I needed to capture as much ground as possible, because it's easier to defend territory than it is to attack it. And so generally I like to push out as far as I can. And you'll see here, I'll go ahead and speed this up. I got my fastest unit, Strope 2s. I love this, my favorite AA in the deck. It really is. And you'll see why later on. He gets a really good kill later in the game that, I mean, easily makes his price tag of 60 points. He like doubles it in one shot. It's fantastic. Again, mostly infantry. I did get some Jaguars to go up. These are 55 point T-72s, so they're not super expensive, but they're also they're good. They're very much an okay tank. They're not going to beat an Abrams toe to toe, but light armor, transports, that kind of stuff, they can hold their own for sure. So, as you can see, BMP2s, I wanted to make sure that these guys got on the move first. These are my Special Forces guys. I believe these were the LSTR 40s, or LSTRs. Just some supplies, because I always send a supply up first. I'm going to slow it down just so you can see where everybody's going. But I always send out supplies just because it's nice to have it there. And I'd rather these guys, I was really worried about India. That's why I sent the bulk of my forces to India. That's why I sent this armor just in case, and then I sent line infantry with BMP support and AA with the AA vehicle support. My special forces, I pushed those out as far as I really deemed safe, because I figured if I'm reaching this point, he's reaching this point most likely. These maps are they're pretty fair, so to speak. So if I'm getting to this point, if he's got a helicopter, he's probably getting close to this point. So it's definitely a juggling act of how far forward to push and how safe and aggressive. It's really a balance between the two, and it's an art really to try to figure out how far you wanted to push out. So like you could see here, I kind of got a little worried about them being close to this village already, like that. Or well, he's calling that in. That's not him. That's not my unit spotting them. But basically, I was worried about them being like here already, so that's why I emptied them out and I dumped them into the village, and then started setting up my defensive line here because I figured that either they're gonna come pouring through here or they're gonna come pouring through here. Again, my LSTR 40 already set up, good to go. My strobe 2 and my command infantry. Now, as you can see, I'm going to capture Foxtrot in India here as soon as I possibly can. And it takes me a good amount of time to save up points to get to Juliet. This was a really well priced game. I really like this setup. Let's go ahead and speed up. I don't really think anything's going on. I'm gonna try to keep this video short as I possibly can. As you can see down here, or excuse me, you might not see it on yeah, you'll see it. Sorry, I forgot how screen capture works for a second. Duh. Let's slow this down, though. You'll want to watch this battle. So, Smetch doing their thing. I took out 2 of his infantry automatically. Stunned these guys pretty bad. As you can see, they lucky one-shot my MI2, which kind of pissed me off a little bit, and that's why I called these guys in. These guys, unfortunately, I'm not really worried about their safety. They just drop the troops off. That's it. I don't expect them to live very long. As you can see, I already pulled over my Jaguar as well to help finish these guys off. You'll see my Jaguar. He's slowly but surely pushing up. Yep, like that. That 50 cal, just that 150 cal on that Jaguar really does put a hurting on these guys. And so does a 120 mil cannon, but mostly that 50 cal really is helping suppress these guys down so that these guys can then finish them off. Just exactly like that. Now, again, pulling up my infantry. These are my fire support guys. I love this thing. It's amphibious. It's fairly fast. It's pretty quick, and it's efficient. And really, it's got a nice gun on it. It's got a 50 cal. Well, it's got actually larger than a 50 cal. It's got a 14.5, so it's borderline cannon really. But it does really good, and it's fairly cheap. I think it's like 15 points per vehicle, plus whatever infantry you have in it. See, and this is why I bring logistics. They're already patching up my Piocha to kind of help defend this area. He's bulking up here. Now watch this. These Reese, I'll go ahead and kind of spoil it for you, but these Reese get dangerously close to my recon. Like if he would have pushed this Reese a little bit further, the game could have definitely changed hands very quickly. There we go again. Communication. It really is key. There's Crab-like. He's got his stuff. I mean, it really is communication. Huge in this game. If you're not talking, then you're not winning. It's my philosophy really. Go ahead and speed this up. I know it's kind of slow, but this was, like I said, this was a slower paced game, and I found out that I tried to commentate during a game, and either I wasn't talking or I would just talk in random spurts because I was so focused on trying to play the game. So I think that this is the most efficient way for me to explain what I'm doing for you guys so that you can actually understand what I'm talking about rather than me just, ramble about stuff. Because I have a very bad habit of doing that. So I'm going to go ahead and speed it up one more time. Let's see here. Actually, I'll slow it down real quick. I want to mention something. The enemy here, what, Kibby? Mostly Kibby? Yeah. He bulks up here, but never decides to push. And I would have been very much interested to see what would have happened. Because now, at this point, I've got quite a bit of infantry support here. I've got armor, I got BMPs. I'm pretty much made my line now. So his attack, he maybe could have pushed through. Probably not. But I would have been interested to see. I should have been more aggressive. Let's where that beacon go. Oh, something is in here. Yeah. So I spotted a recon vehicle driving in, and then it disappeared. It just kind of like turned on its Romulan cloak. as another YouTuber likes to say. um, I'll let you figure out who that is. If you know who that is, post it in the comments. But basically, yeah, I seen him for a split second, and then he disappeared. So I now know that there's at least that in there. And usually, if there's recon or something in the wood line that large, there's other vehicles supporting it. So my OT-64s are shooting. They're not going to hit anything. These guys are very inaccurate with these South Coast missiles, unfortunately. Or excuse me, they're not South Coast. They're Mulit-Role? I don't know. Either way, they're not really that accurate. They're more for show, to scare people off is what they're for. I'm calling in mortars because I love mortars. I find them much more effective for me against the enemy than it is artillery. I never have good luck with artillery, and that's not good because a lot of this game these days is a lot of counter arty and artillery and counter artillery. We'll span up here, or excuse me, scroll up here. As you can see, he snuck these MI8s all the way around. He kind of spotted some stuff, but basically, the enemy, the enemy starts spawning like spam spawning radar AA to take these guys out. You'll see them spawn here soon. They should be spawning here soon. Yeah, there they go. As you can see, they just start spawning them in like crazy. Yeah, and as soon as that thing spawns up underneath of it, it wasn't even a fair fight at that point. But we did shoot down one of the Pumas, it looked like. Or maybe he just unloaded them, I don't know. So basically, I know that there's infantry and stuff in here. I know that there is some stuff in here. Now I'm just kind of waiting to see what he makes his move at, because at this point, if you're wondering why I'm not going on the offensive, it's because I'm saving money to try and capture India, because we need the funds. Because as you can see, they've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 zones, and we've got only what, 4? Yeah, because he counter-capped over here, so we've only got like 4. So we definitely need the funds. But excuse me, I kind of lost track. I use mortars because they're more accurate. They have a faster time on target, and I'm just terrible at counter arty. I really am. And it also kind of stinks that the artillery options for the Eastern Bloc deck are not really that good. I mean, there are, like the Danas, a lot of people will be like, oh my god, you've got the Danas, those are the best ever. Honestly, they're fast, don't get me wrong, they're very quick, and if you can keep them near roads, they move. Sorry, I'm going to cut in. Actually, this MiG is on a firebomb mission to hit here, because I've seen stuff go in here, and I'm trying to just kind of probing the enemy defenses to really see what is happening, and this is why I love this MiG-29. Because, as you can see, not only is it napalm, but it has HE capability. So it hits like a bomb, but then it leaves napalm. So it kills quite a bit of stuff. It's a multi-role fighter. It's got good, solid ECM for at least a Russian or a Russian derivative of an aircraft. And so it's just all around, it's a good fighter. And I actually use it quite a bit in this game, just doing small missions like that, just taking on the enemy. And then here's another perfect example of combined arms. So I've spotted these guys, they're engaging my infantry. I've got my mortars now turned onto these guys. Well, when I was mentioning that fast time on target, this is why I love mortars. Right here. It's basically suppressing these guys. They have an overwhelming force, but it gives me enough time to get my infantry support by my BMPs, or my BWPs. And as you can see, the BWPs are just tearing these guys up along with my regular infantry. Once again, mortars, I've adjusted the fire to hit these infantry dead on. I'm pulling back my infantry because I didn't want to risk them getting hit with stray mortars. So I pulled them back, and then I just basically slowly moved up I will move up my oh yeah, never mind. I called him a MiG. Sorry, getting ahead of myself. And the MiG finishes up the work. Does the cleaning up. So, but yeah, I've never had any luck. The Danas are really quick. If you keep them near roads, you can get them to move before artillery hits. But really, it's 100. I think the cheapest one's 90, and it really is. They're not really that accurate. and they don't really do a whole lot of damage, or at least in my experience. Now I could be completely wrong, and I'm using them wrong, and that's quite a real possibility. But for me, it seems like it's just not very effective. So play against my strengths instead of my weaknesses, or play with my strengths instead of my weaknesses, or trying to force something that doesn't fit. And so I stick with mortars. Plus, it gives me an extra slot so I can put in more AA, which definitely is my forte, is AA. As you can see, kind of playing dumb. Again, lost an MI-22, or an MI-2 because of that, but my SU-22 kind of came back and got me some vengeance. So we probably traded points. This guy's sneaking in. He was really, this was, if I had one complaint, or if I had to pick one complaint in this entire game, I'd say I was a lack of aggression in this area. But my second thing that I would say that I did really wrong was I did not secure this zone. You'll see a few times he brings infantry through this zone, and I'm able to catch them, or my line is strong enough to hold its own. But this should not have been an avenue. I should have cut this off a long time ago in this game. Like, we're already at almost the 20-minute mark, but yet I still have infantry pouring through here like these guys. And I almost lost the line because of these guys, and you'll see here very soon. I'm calling in my MiG to bomb the city before I send in my infantry. I determined that these infantry were coming this direction. I seen them moving this way, and so I went ahead and just pre-bombed it. My LSTR-40, I mean, they're special forces and they do good, but 20 against 10 is never really a good amount. I mean, the Canadian rifles are not anything to joke with. Solid line infantry, very effective. And as you can see, they're putting a hurting on my LSTRs. Luckily, again, combined arms, fast time on target. I love fast time on target with these mortars. As you can see, I'm already making a difference. Stunning these guys was the best thing I could do. I even called over my strobe, and we'll watch its magnificent gunfire here. Yeah, that's why. That thing, amazing. That thing is amazing. So, as you can see, the Reese is still on the move. He gets dangerously close to my my command units. So I lucked out there for sure. So let's go ahead and speed this up. The enemy didn't really call out a lot of air. I don't know if it's because they were spending all their money on ground forces, and that could be very much the case. As you can see, it turns into an arty match very soon. But they never really went after my mortars. They always went after his artillery. So I don't know. I guess that worked for me. Slow down real quick. I told him, oh yeah, he was engaging these guys because they were sitting out in the open, so I figured I'd drop. I lost, as you can see, I lost my MiG to just a ton of enemy AA. So I lost my 130 point plane to, what, I don't know, 40 point infantry. So that was a hard hit. That hit me hard. Finally getting this guy locked in, and as you can see, I put them in weird places. Like here, I didn't put them in this village because that's kind of an automatic, like, oh, I'm gonna bomb this village because that's probably where he's at. Same here. I'm gonna put him right here in this hedgerow because they're infantry. They hide really well in cover like that. And so when they're going to send in an artillery strike, most people go for this. Most people go for this. Most people don't waste an artillery strike on this hedgerow. And that's why I put my infantry. Like, I could have put him in this village, and he'd been very secure. But once again, it's an obvious target. Whereas this border hedgerow, where are they at? Yeah, this border hedgerow, nobody's gonna fire missiles at that unless they've spotted it, and then they defeat. If the enemy can spot your command infantry, it doesn't matter where you put them. There's arty coming. You better move him. Speaking of arty. Alright, I'll speed up here. SU-22, I'm poking around because I've seen radar, or excuse me, I've seen AA, but I didn't know what it was. So I send this SU-22 out, actually. So Alright, I paused real quick. So as you can see, he's engaging my SU-22. I'm evacing him as fast as I can. So down here, I've got my Strobe 2, 60 points. My LSTR 40, I believe they're 40 to 45, I believe. So as you can see, a CF 18-8 Hornet, basically an F-18 Hornet. Just these two by themselves. Boom. So combined 100 points, took out probably every bit of a 120 point jet in a single flyby. That's pretty good. That's that speaks volumes, I think, or at least to me it does. I think that's more than enough. As you can see, rocket artillery coming after this guy, but he was definitely Crab-like was definitely on his game. Like, I mean, he was constantly trying to counter arty. He came close with the rocket arty at one point, like to hitting this guy, but he lucked out. Yeah, right there. Came close. I think, yeah, about half damage. But he didn't kill it, so we lucked out for sure. What do they have? Oh, M10, M270. So, I mean, I know this is probably really boring to you guys, but I really wanted to show you at least how I use my deck and how I operate when I play a game. So I'll just go ahead and speed it up. I know this game is going to be a really long, so and quite possibly could be very boring. So sorry about that, but I think it's important to kind of see exactly what units I'm using and why I'm using them. These T-72 Wilkes, these are my 95 point tanks. They did very good. As you can see, ton of infantry up in here. Ridiculous amount of mortars. I'll just let you. That's what I had to fight against. It wasn't at that speed, obviously, but I mean, yeah, I'll show you I mean, it's crazy the amount of fire that they were trying to dump at me. I mean, it's nuts. But basically, this area was my weak point for sure, easily, or it wasn't even by a shadow of a doubt. That was the weakest point in my line, and it was just because, I tried to bomb them. Again, they had a huge amount of tracked reapers that just shot me down just as soon as I flew over. I mean, just crazy. But then I called in my mortars. And then my teammate doing good, firing artillery. I mean, again, teammates help so much in this game. I was still like, I thought that they were radar because they hit my jet so fast. I thought they were radar, so I kept sending these in thinking I'd find one, but it never happened. Yeah. So I mean, really, this is just a good multi-role deck. I like it. It really works for me. It's just how you play. It's not even something that, like, you don't have to have the best deck in the world. It helps to know what units you have and play with your strengths. Like me personally, I'm not a huge tank guy. As you can see, I have what, three tanks on the map right now. I mean, I'm not an armored guy. Oh, there's how close that Reese gets. That is literally how close he was to my command infantry, but yet couldn't find him. Once again, he tried this attack. I can't remember exactly how I stopped these guys. Oh, that's how. Good old SU-25. Close air support, man. Gotta love it. Gotta love it. Oh. Yeah. I mean, the LSTR, really, with these two, those LSTR They're troopers for sure. I mean, they're not the best out of all the special forces, but just the fact that they can engage air targets and or armored vehicles and air targets is more than enough for me. Like that's perfectly fine. That's what I want. Something that can kill fucking aircraft. Excuse me for the the language, but kill aircraft and kill tanks as fast as possible. Um, but yeah, I'm not an armored person. I definitely kind of play on the, I want to say the mild side. Like I'm not a super defensive person. Like now I say that when I'm playing very much a defensive game, but I kind of think I'm pretty mild. Like I know, or how do I word this? I know when to defend and I know when to attack, but sometimes I'm just not as quick as I would like to be to get to that point. Um, just a side note, I pushed my BMP2s up just to poke around and see what was in here. There was really no chance for me to rearm these guys. So, or it wasn't really useful, so I just decided to use them as kind of bait for this big group of infantry because I knew that this was going to do more than my BMPs were going to do any day of the week. So I figured I'd sacrifice these to let these guys know what is over here because these are not my units. These are the Crab likes units. I'm worried, or excuse me, I am focused on this attack right here. I'm pushing up through here. Now, it took me a minute to realize this when I started to attack, but he has a spawn point. As you can see, that arrow right there, he has a spawn point right here. And that is why he's able to call in stuff so quickly and counter my attack. And I think that was the biggest challenge in this area. I think if he didn't have that call-in zone, I would have definitely pushed through here much faster than I did. Because you'll see towards the end, that like these BMP2s are sitting in this wood line here where my mouse is right now and like pretty much cutting down most of the stuff that's coming through. And then he just like, oh, okay, I see your BMPs. I'm going to call in a challenger. And, my BMPs are not going to stand a chance against a challenger. Even though there's three of them, they're not going to stand a chance. So for me, this was my challenge. And then his challenge was for sure was Charlie and Echo. But if we could have captured Charlie and Delta, if the game would have continued, Echo and Delta, if that would have folded, we would have won shortly after. I mean, we would have just straight pushed and steamrolled right through here. But the BMP and infantry combo, this is a combination I really like to do. Now, this is actually a little bit further than normal. What I usually do, actually this is a good example, I usually send my infantry first, so that way if they get engaged by another group of infantry, for instance, that my BMP2s know where to go after that. So if my infantry get engaged, I can then move my BMP2s up to support. And that's the entire purpose of an infantry fighting vehicle, is the infantry fighting vehicle is supposed to fight alongside the infantry. So I'll send my infantry up, and then shortly after I'll push my BMP2s up. Now I don't do it in this scenario, but basically my MI-24, I love the MI-24. I don't really use it a whole lot in this match because it just gets steamrolled by this, which actually I'm gonna pause for a split second. These things right here, just so you know, the ADATs, I did not know this until I researched it after the game, or after the fact, but they can shoot at tanks and aircraft. The missiles on this thing can shoot at tanks and aircraft. And if you don't believe me, let me see if I can do this. I wish there was a better way to do this. There we go. I had it too. I can't do it. I don't know who thought this up, but it's stupid how you can't move over. But if you look, it says ground, helicopter, and aircraft. So this 190-point vehicle can engage literally everything on the battlefield. That's crazy. That's nuts to me. So for the price of a Book, you get something that can shoot as far as a Book. Or, well, it doesn't shoot as far as a Book, but it shoots pretty close to what a Book shoots. And if you don't know what I mean by Book, it's basically the Russians' very large anti-aircraft missile. It shoots like 2,800, 2,900 meters at aircraft. But basically, you have the range of a very high-end anti-air against airplanes and helicopters, but then you also have very good anti-tank capability, and I think that's crazy. That's so 90 points, and that's cheap for what that thing can do. But back to the game, because I know, I'm sorry that this is so long, but I wanted to wrap this up. I know it's long overdue. Here's that situation I was telling you about. My BMP2s are tearing things up, and he calls in, oh, I'm sorry, Centurion. But basically, my BMP2s are not going to be able to take that out. I mean, there's no way. And that's when I found out the ADATs could shoot at my stuff, because I was like, wait a minute, it's AA. Why is it shooting at my BMPs? What the hell's going on? In my 24s, I was going to try to send a mission, like just kind of a stealth mission to the flanks. But I think what happens is the game the game ends pretty soon here. But as you can see, I hope that this helped you out. I'll just give you a little zoomed out move. Yeah, you can see that my helicopters were pushing their way up. But hopefully I hope this guy, excuse me, sorry, I can't talk. But hopefully this shows you kind of how the deck in action, how I use each unit, what unit that I use the most, and hopefully kind of explains some scenarios that I use them in. We'll zoom in here for a little bit. I think they just did they did a huge push through here. I think, yeah, huge push. And I try to time mine accordingly, because you can see he's sending gunships like crazy. And I'm pushing up as far as I possibly can. I'm getting ready to send these guys down on this. I mean, this was pretty much the death, the death throws, pretty much. We're getting ready to roll them to the finish. As you can see, we did pretty evenly. He did a little bit better than me. But I lost a little bit more as well, which kind of sucks. But we did solid compared to them. We beat them, well, a major victory. So, but like I said, I was trying to say, guys, I hope that you enjoyed this. I hope this showed you kind of the deck in all its glory. And if you have any questions, comments, etc., would like to see more, please please let me know. And I can be sure to roll that into my schedule. I actually am purchasing the Metal Gear Solid, the Phantom Pain, and I am definitely going to do some videos on that. I love Metal Gear Solid. I love the series, and unfortunately I haven't played them all, but I played the good ones, like the really good ones. And so I'm definitely going to do videos of that really soon. So just, like I said, guys, sorry for the delay. Keep me posted on what you would like to see, what you like, what you didn't like, and as always, Time Burner.